tonight's most up-to-the-minute scores, highlights, and sports news from coast to coast. This is Fox Sports News Prime Time.
Well, with Michael Jordan's jersey hanging in the United Center, it's up to players like Simpkins, Booth, LaRue, Stegenga, and a man named Bubba to carry on the great Bulls tradition. Today, the Bulls opened preseason against the Pacers, the team Michael Jordan picks to win the NBA title this season. Jordan said, "The good thing is I don't have to worry about it." And by the way, Rusty LaRue has taken over Jordan's locker. But have no fear, Bill Wennington is still here.
Last year was dubbed as the last dance. This year is going to be a lot like a first dance. And like a first dance, our footwork's not going to be right, and the chemistry's not going to be there at first. But if you give us a little time...
Well, like a Halloween dance. Pacers and Bulls, first quarter. Ron Harper driving and getting the bounce. Hey, maybe it won't be so bad. Corey Benjamin. Uh-oh. Keith Booth. Nothing but air. Big air ball. Tony Kukoc. Big air as well. Come on, son, you're in. Third quarter, Reggie Miller, Alley, Dale Davis, oop. And the Pacers go on to, not surprisingly, win this one, 79-71. The Bulls shot 31%. Cornell David led the Bulls with 12 points. You heard me right, Kevin. Cornell David. As the NBA heads towards the start of the season, the signings continue. 3 more players have new contracts. Clarence Weatherspoon, a 3-year deal with the Heat. Johnny Newman in Cleveland. Dennis Scott, a New York Knick.
The real MJ joins us now, Marcus Johnson, and as Lionel just said, Cornell David, the leading scorer for the Bulls. And I'll tell you something, I pride myself on knowing a little something about the NBA, and this scares me because I've never heard of Cornell David. And I could ask a researcher, but I don't want to. Who is Cornell David?
I'm the resident analyst, and I have no idea who Cornell David is, but I tell you what, the Bulls this year, they're going to be missing 70% of their scoring with all the guys gone, so that's going to be some problems, especially for that vaunted triangle offense. As we take a look at that vaunted triangle, maybe not so vaunted triangle offense, under the Fox Scope.
The Fox Scope is brought to you by Acura.
Oh, here we go. Here's the Bulls in the triangle. Now, you see the triangle. There's Roy Rogers and Trigger and Bullet and whoever else is involved. Now, usually, Kukoc could expect an open jump shot at the free throw line, but no pick by Booth. Tony a little bit under pressure, going to find a wide open guy. Kind of looks like Michael Jordan, but it's not. It's the rookie Corey Benjamin. He's a rookie. He's going to be better in time, but right now, just not quite ready for prime time. Corey Benjamin, some more Bulls offense. Again, Ron Harper. Now, he's one of 2 primary offensive threats on the floor. Now, you're going to see a lot of this season. Teams double-teaming other teams as primary offensive threats, get the ball out of their hands. Big guys like Bill Wennington knock down tough off-balance jump shots. Now, the Bulls get a second shot. Here again, Ron Harper. He's the guy that has to do a lot of the work trying to set up the offense for the Bulls. That's how you know they're in trouble. He's going to move the basketball around, going to find Dickie Simpkins, and teams will give this shot up. They're going to make Bill Wennington knock down jump shots. If he can beat them knocking down 18 and 20-foot shots, so be it. The Bulls obviously are going to be in some trouble. I hear Brent Barry is on the way. That will help a bit, maybe not much. But the thing about this season, I expect scoring to be down drastically. I expect individual stats. The leading scorer in the league might average 25, 26 points a game. If that happens, that would be the lowest leading scorer in like 43 years. The year I was born, 1956, Bob Pettit, Paul Iverson, all those good old timers. So I think we're going to see more of that. The NBA is fantastic, right?
Well, rookie coach Tim Floyd is finding that real quick. He said he wishes he had 12 or 15 exhibitions. He's got 2, one's gone, and then it's for real. So, yeah. Thanks a lot, Marcus.
All right. Let's move on to college basketball. The rumors are flying fast as to whether he will play.
In the NBA, that ticking Tim Floyd here's in Chicago is the clock working toward opening night. But it might as well be a time bomb, too. Because when they tip off, it is going to go off. And Floyd will be holding the blown-up bits of a champion in his hands. His most immediate concern is finding a little bang for his offense. With 19 players and just 4 days till opening night, the Bulls' famed triangle offense is looking more like Rubik's Cube. Oh, Tony Kukoc, that bad taste in his mouth? Yes. It's not Michael even, it's just blood. It's the Pacers, out for blood. A little payback on the tour. And Mark Bryant, the turnaround, air ball there. Andrew Lang comes up short, and then Randy Brown's got the steal. He's got 2. But instead, it's not going down, although he does. The Bulls just can't find the bottom of the net. No problem for the Pacers. Look at that, behind the back, outside to Reggie for the 3 ball. And judging by the look on Larry Bird's face, that was an expression of high appreciation. improve. Tony Kukoc inside, the floater for two. Then Kukoc stepping out from long range, just inside the stripe. He had 32 and kept the Bulls in this one. Then off the inbounds pass, Kukoc looking deep for Brent Barry, sailing home. He goes glass, and that tied the game up in the fourth quarter. The Pacers now leading by 3. Mark Jackson inside. Dale Davis getting loose. It's a 5-point game, and then Reggie is going to dish. Kicking out. Mark Jackson, quick trigger. Ball game. Time to shake and rattle and roll, and it's only the preseason. They'll take it over the Bulls any day they can get it. 89-83. Chicago hurts himself. This will be a familiar refrain. They hurt themselves by hitting less than 40% from the field, and afterwards, Eric Collins caught up with Tim Floyd.
Well, the Chicago Bulls, no one's expecting much this year, but they're starting to play some pretty darn good basketball. They lost today to the Indiana Pacers by just 6 points. And a big reason has to do with the new man in charge, Tim Floyd. Tim, were you surprised at the fact that you guys hung in so tough with the Pacers?
Well, we're just real pleased. You know, obviously we got an incredible offensive performance from Tony Kukoc in the third quarter, and that allowed us to hang around. And, you know, Indiana's a terrific basketball team, and they did late what Bulls teams have done in the past. Their big players stepped up, and they got a big basket from Mark Jackson. They got a big basket from Reggie Miller. But overall, you know, we got to be pleased with the effort.
Tim, throughout the course of the season, if we see Tony Kukoc scoring 32 points a night, are you going to be a happy man? Are you going to win a lot of games?
Well, I'll take 32 from him every night. And, you know, that's one of the things that is going to be sorely missed from last year is the points that came not only from Scotty and from Michael, obviously, but, you know, you got big baskets from Curry. You got big baskets from Luke at times. And, you know, the offensive board work. We're not a very good rebounding team right now, but we'll continue to work on that.
Thanks for stopping by. For Tim Floyd, I'm Eric Collins for Fox Sports News, Indianapolis.
All right, thank you, Eric. John and I just getting warmed up here at the Fox Network Center. Here's a look at some of what we have in store when we come back. Dennis Rodman, can he and Alonzo Mourning coexist on the same team? We'll have the latest on where the worm boards.
Bill Wennington. He's the only man you recognize on that Bulls bench. Going against the Jazz, first quarter, the new Bulls' first possession. Greg Ostertag shuts down Ron Harper, then Tony Kukoc shuts himself down, hitting the side of the backboard. Uh-oh, says Tim Floyd. Later in the first, Jazz up 7, Jeff Hornacek behind the back to Thurl Bailey. Fire in the hole. Nice pass, Jazz up by 4. Second quarter, Stockton. Oh, yeah, the running jumper. Tim Floyd is down by 15 at the break. Third quarter, off the inbounds, Tony Kukoc, third rock. Bulls would get as close as 7. But later in the third, long pass to Karl Malone. Yep, the Jazz on the way, wearing their dark uniforms at home. Malone had 21. Jazz get the win, 104-96. It's the only regular season meeting between those two teams. Kukoc, one of only 5 remaining Bulls, had 32.
Now that some of the big games are over, it is time to bring in 2 of our NBA reporters. Sam Marciano covered the Magic's victory over the Knicks at the O-Arena, and John Kelly is in Salt Lake City where the Jazz beat the depleted Bulls. Sam, let's start with you in Orlando where Latrell Sprewell looked for a Saturday night game. Let's switch gears, bring in John Kelly from Salt Lake City. He's at the Delta Center where the Bulls and Jazz played in the finals last season, of course, but things a whole lot different this time around as expected, J.K.
Well, Brad, in theory and in the headlines, we all know this one was billed as a rematch of the last 2 NBA Finals. But let's face it, in reality and out on the court, nobody expected this one to be close. But usually when the Bulls come in with one Michael Jordan, they're the ones that will be the heavy favorites. But this time around, it was the Jazz that were predicted to be the kings of courts.
I think the dynamics changed a little bit. I think they can play a little bit more relaxed and maybe makes us a little bit more uptight knowing that their team is down. But actually, once the game starts, you play whoever's out there. And it doesn't matter whether it's Michael Jordan or Tony Kukoc. You have to go out there and play your game against them.
How satisfied are you with the first effort?
Well, very satisfied from the standpoint that we got down, which you suspect might happen in the road with basically a new team. The fact that we played with some poise down the stretch in the fourth quarter, although we did have a couple mistakes that you'd like to have back. Effort's the whole thing, really, when you're going on the road, and I thought we played with that throughout.
Well, it's no secret nobody expects too much from the Bulls this year, and a lot of people joking that maybe the young men behind me out here scrimmaging a little bit might be able to beat them if they have a good night. But really, Tim Floyd says he doesn't take it as disrespect that people don't expect much. He knew that was coming because no Scotty, no Michael, no Dennis, and he's the new head coach, so they have very low expectations for themselves. But the Jazz, everybody expects them to blow it up this year. They're out to defend their Western Conference crown, while the Bulls are just out to defend themselves for a little bit of pride. That'll do it at the Delta Center. I'm John Kelly. Let's send it back to the Fox Network Center.
Thanks a lot, J.K. And boy, have times changed. The Bulls lose, and the head coach says he's satisfied with the effort. Wow. Oof. Remember, Michael Jordan is retired from the NBA. That is a sentence NBA coaches are telling their players all over the league. In the same breath, those coaches are using words like opportunity and wide open. Two heirs to the throne vacated by MJ are the Lakers and the Rockets. Houston has taken advantage of Jordan's absence before. The Rockets are the only team other than the Bulls to win the title in the 90s.
Los Angeles. Well, 1994 must seem like a long time ago for Ron Harper, and devoted Clipper fans will remember Harper on the bench with his free Ron Harper sign. He was emancipated to the Bulls, where he teamed up with a few good players to win 3 world championships. And now with the new-look Bulls looking very Clipper-esque and visiting the Sports Arena Sunday night, Harper must feel like he violated his parole. He's back at the Sports Arena. And Brent Berry for the Bulls, a former Clipper. Nice move at the end of the first quarter. The Weddington hits at the buzzer. Chicago led by 17 after 1. Second quarter, the rookie, Michael Olowokandi, gets fouled. Finished with 12 points. He helped the Clips get back in the game. In the fourth quarter, here's Ron Harper. Drops it in. He had 26 points. He's scoring more. The Bulls need him to do that. They're back up by 9, then 16 seconds left. Clippers within 2. Derek Martin, what's he doing with the 3 ball that doesn't go? Chris Ford watches his team lose 89-84, only 6,118 at the Sports Arena. The Bulls have won 9 straight there. Tony Kukoc, 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists. And after the game, Tim Floyd talked about the veteran leadership, and this is his first win.
He said what we needed to say, but the key thing is you got guys like Harp who've been around. And when Harp talks, I know they're listening. I hope they're listening to me, but I know they heard Harp.
Anytime you get a win, especially the first win of the seasons for young guys, it kind of takes the pressure off, and guys understand what it takes to win ball games and what it's like to play down the stretch. So after 7 months off, it's nice for guys to kind of get their feet wet in the win column.
Tremendous game between the Mavs and Warriors. Second game.
You're watching Fox Sports News this morning, delivering sports fans the ultimate power breakfast.
At number 23 hanging in the rafters at the United Center, giving Bulls fans endless reasons to reminisce. But the fact Michael Jordan no longer plays for the Bulls, giving them endless reasons to cry in their spilled beer. But what they'll witness the remainder of the season, maybe even more painful. Tuesday night, title banner number 6 going to the roof. And while the world champions' light may not be as watered down as some expect, the only guarantee is they won't finish 0-50.
The other night.
Take a good look. You won't see any of these anytime soon.
He's a shooter.
Second quarter, Bill Wennington.
Gets out there. Bill Wennington.
Doink. Tony Kukoc. Doink. It's a brick fest. Somebody's going to get hurt. Tim Floyd, be strong. Second quarter, off the steal. Mookie Blaylock finds Steve Smith. Steve Smith finds the basket. He had a game-high 30. Third quarter, Hawks up by 4. Grant Long gets huge. Long finishes with 14 and land up by 6. Fourth quarter, more Bull problems, no surprise. Andrew Linton, yeah. What are you doing? Then he gets rejected. Then Ron Harper get that weak shot out of here. Mutombo, the human eraser. Then Long blocks Lang. Floyd, I want to go home. The new Bulls. With the old results, they lose at 87-71. The Bulls lose their first home opener since Michael Jordan's first retirement. That was back in '93. Steve Smith leading Atlanta with 30 points, 10 of 15 shooting, and he's leading the Hawks in all 4 games. Afterward, Tim Floyd talks about how the championship banner fits into the new era here and now.
Well, you know, nothing in particular. You know, that was a moment there for the past, and, you know, I hope that the fans enjoyed it. And I don't don't think it had anything to do with the outcome.
The city of Chicago, I think, love their Bulls, no matter who's pulling on the jerseys. And, you know, we need every ounce of support we can from the city. This team is in a state of flux, and we need that kind of support. And hopefully we'll go out and play like we deserve that.
First, Tim Duncan came into battle.
The Knicks and Bulls, and the Knicks have only won 3 times in the last 24 trips to Chicago. Different flavor this time. No MJ. Meanwhile, Patrick looking like the old Patrick, the fade. He had 15 points in the first half. Bulls hang tough. Well, Rusty LaRue hanging tough. He hits the 3. Tim Floyd's team shot 26% from the floor. Meanwhile, Chris Child, that's a tasty pass. He hooks up Marcus Camby. Big night for Camby. 6.6 rebounds and 8 blocks in 28 minutes. Van Gundy cheering his team on. Patrick busy inside off the glass. Ewing had a game-high 18 points, and maybe he ran all the way back to New York. 73-68 the final score. Ewing's numbers 18 and 9. Meanwhile, Tony Kukoc 11 points, 9 rebounds, but he was only 4 of 22 from the floor. On to thug life in Los Angeles. Shaquille O'Neal put it plain and simple to the Lakers management. He wants a thug next to him at power forward, someone who can help defend against guys like Tim Duncan and Karl Malone. And for that reason, Shaq dialed up Dennis Rodman on a couple of occasions last week to try and coax his royal madness into joining the Lakers. Thursday night, a close associate of Rodman's told Fox Sports News that the NBA's rebounding champ is anywhere from a week to 2 weeks away from signing with L.A. According to the source, Dennis will be paid close to $1 million, plus his shoe deal with Converse would kick in another $3 or $4 million once he began to play. Rodman's associate said it was better than 90% that Dennis would wind up with the Lakers. And boy, they could have used him right now because the Lakers... During the timeout just before that deciding shot in Game 6 of the '97 Finals, Michael Jordan told Steve Kerr to be ready. Kerr was. When Michael made his move this year, Kerr was ready once again. When the player-president called it a career, Kerr found a new home in San Antonio. Sunday, the former Bulls hero made his return to the Windy City. And look, GM Jerry Krause with a little something special for moments that they shared in the past. It's Valentine's Day. Actually, that's his championship ring.
Elliott again with it.
First quarter, Tony Kukoc, a scorer, not a defender. Sean Elliott, this tasty jumper off the glass. Elliott finished with 12. And as for the Bulls, they were playing poorly. Harper.
Harper off the glass, missed it. Tony
Kukoc.
Nope. And Tony got it again.
These are your Chicago Bulls. They scored 11 points in the first quarter. David Robinson, meanwhile, Shrek with the block in the third quarter. It ignites the break, and, well, he started this thing. He might as well finish it. Robinson, a team-high 22 and 4 blocks, and then in the fourth quarter, he feels comfy there because he knows the terrain. Trey Punte. Actually, there was one more Trey Punte in the game for Steve Kerr. He finished 3 for 3 from the land of plenty. Spurs go on to win this one, 89-76, the final score. And how bad are things in Chicago? Well, Tim Floyd's Bulls are struggling with the triangle offense so much that at one point Floyd yelled out to Kerr, "Hey, Steve, tell them what to do in the triangle." Through the first 3 games of the season, you know, there's an old saying that happiness is good health and, of course, a bad memory. Bill Weddington is healthy, and he must not remember the good old days. Otherwise, he'd be miserable with the 1-4 Bulls.
Weddington is doing his part to keep the mood positive in Chicago, and he's joking about the good old days in this week's edition of I Heard That.
Steve's very easy, and he's my friend, so I didn't want him to lose. You know, he's got a very short fuse, and, you know, you do anything to Steve, he'll lose it, and he wouldn't be able to concentrate tonight, and I didn't want to do that to him. He's my friend. He shot better tonight than he ever did as a Bull. I don't know what happened.
Bill, you guys almost looked better the first weekend of the season. Do you see improvement? Are you getting better?
Are you talking about my looks again?
The Chicago Bulls no longer Michael Jordan's team. It's Tony Kukoc's team. Good for Tony, not good for the team. Against the Hawks, Steve Smith, the wraparound to Alan Henderson. Henderson finishes with 14. The Bulls, well, doing all they can. Brent Berry to a wide-open Kukoc. That Tony can shoot. And then Michael Jordan in the house.
That time, Brent Berry.
They wish. They wish. Atlanta takes control. Mookie Blaylock picks it ahead to Eddie Gray. And the Hawks go on to win it 83-67. The world champions Light have lost 4 in a row, all 4 at home. Chicago scoring a league-low 78 points a game.
Still to come, an excellent in Milwaukee. Ray Allen and the Bucks looking to pick up a rare win against the Chicago Bulls franchise. Allen leading a 10-2 Milwaukee run in the third quarter. Tyrone Hill driving and dishing to Irvin Gilliam. Bucks up 10. But then in the third quarter, the Bulls went on a 15-2 run as the hip-hop happening Hungarian Cornell David pulled the Bulls to within 3. But in the fourth, Terrell Brandon stopping, popping. He finished with 17, and the Bucks are thrilled that Michael Jordan retired because they snapped a 12-game losing streak against the Bulls. The Bulls have now lost 5 in a row for the first time since March of '94. Here's a golden nugget.
The Bulls and the Wiz. Bulls have not lost 6 straight since '89. First quarter, Wizards up 7. The steal, Rod Strickland to Ben Wallace. He gets laid and he's fouled. Part of a 21-0 run. Wallace had 13. It's a career high. Then Juwan Howard beats Calvert Chaney down low, gets it. Chaney had 17. Fourth quarter, under a minute to play. Bulls down only by 2. Tony Kukoc. Shoot the 3, Tony. No, make it. Throw it down to Barry underneath, and he gets it. Tied at 91. Under 20 seconds, still tied. Mitch Richmond taking it on himself, goes into the paint, battles, gets it. Wizards go up 2. Now under 10 seconds to go. Give the ball to Michael Jordan. Oh, I forgot he's not playing anymore. Give it to Brent Barry. Clank.
Rebound tipped up.
Yeah, Timmy Floyd, not a real happy camper about the shot selection right there. But the Wizards go on to win this one 93-91. Calvert Chaney led Washington with 17 points. Rod Strickland had 12 points. The Wizards have now won 2 in a row, and after the game, Rod Strickland made his feelings be known about this tough schedule.
It was tough tonight, that's for sure. I hope, you know, my legs feel better the next one than it did on this one. But it was tough. It was a struggle. But we gutted it out, and luckily we were playing at home. A lot of us, you know, especially the starting 5, didn't have our legs, but I think the bench came in and gave us a great lift.
Fairy tales can come.
All right, on to New York now in Madison Square Garden. You know, when the garden's full of Bulls and full of Knicks without Michael Jordan, it's sort of like a garden full of fertilizer without any vegetables. And we all know what fertilizer's made of. Even Spike Lee knows that MSG is Michael's joint. His Arenas scored 42 points in his rookie season at the Garden. Then there was the double nickel he dropped on him after retiring the first time. Last March, in his last game at the Garden, MJ scored 42 with his old shoes on. They were too small for his feet. Any way you look at it, this game had some big shoes to fill, and they'd play on anyway. That's Jeff Van Gundy. His Knicks have won 5 of 6. Teams trading threes early on. Brent Barry, then Allen Houston. And it dropped. Then Brent Barry again from way downtown, and he got it. And Allen Houston again. Houston hit 10 threes in a row over his last 2 games. He's on fire. Van Gundy digging it as much as he can dig anything. Fourth quarter, Bulls within 4. Houston pulls up, and he gets just the 2 this time. That started a 14-1 run. Houston finished with 26 points. The Bulls went 8.5 minutes without scoring because Ewing was in the paint, blocking stuff right and left. Get out of here, Corey Carr. Tim Floyd doesn't like the way the Bulls are playing. He wants timeout. Ewing had 7 blocks on the night. The Knicks go on to win it 79-63. The Knicks pick up their 6th win in their last 7 games. They hold their 4th opponent this year under 70 points. Prior to this season, they had done it a total of 5 times since the inception of the shot clock in 1955. Now, after the game, the Knickerbockers were talking about the Knicker Clampers.
We did what we were best at, that is play defense and move the ball, and we knew that if we did that, they were going to have a tough time. And I think we tried to take advantage of it in the fourth quarter.
Our whole thing is built around pressure, and if we can get pressure on the ball and force them into turnovers or force them into doing some things that, you know, that's out of control, then, you know, we have a pretty good chance.
We have to have guys start to sell out and really understand what's going on out on the floor and start to really put some effort into what we're trying to do. And it seems like right now guys are wandering around sort of lackadaisical.
Well, the Knicks have been winning games the old-fashioned way. They've been earning it. With defense. Including Sunday's game, the Knicks have held 4 of their opponents under 70 points. They've won all 4 of those games, and for the year, the Knicks are giving up under 80 points a game.
Not a college ball. So the T-Wolves able to put away the surprising Kings, and in New York, as we showed you, the Knicks easily handled the Bulls. But then that's nothing to brag about this year, is it? For more on that game, we go back to the Big Apple and Elise Hart.
For a decade, it was one of the most intense rivalries in basketball, the Knicks versus the Bulls. Now playing the Bulls minus Jordan and Pippen is just another game. For Allen Houston, it was a good game. He scored 26 points and tied a Knicks record with 10 consecutive three-pointers.
You know, I'm a shooter. I've been shooting all my life. The last thing I worry about is shooting the basketball. They're going to be nice when I don't shoot the ball well, but that doesn't mean I overreact and say, oh, now I'm not shooting the ball well.
The game, in some people's eyes, lost its luster, but it certainly didn't lose its importance to us on this year's team. You know, we wanted to get 48 minutes so we could get 6 and 3.
During the first half, Patrick Ewing banged his already sore right wrist, the same one that kept him out most of last season. It didn't keep him out of this game, and after, I asked him about it. Patrick, how's your wrist? What happened to you?
I just got jammed.
How's it feeling?
It feels fine.
He's played with pain for so long, I don't know if he's, you know, he probably, I think he stung it like that in the last game in Philly, too. So, you know, I just want to reintroduce him to the referee so we can get a foul call now and then.
The Knicks now head into the most grueling part of their schedule yet. 6 games in 8 days, starting Tuesday against local rival, the New Jersey Nets. Elise Hart, Fox Sports News, New York.
All right, everybody knows that lesson.
Dollars lighter in the wallet.
Pippen's former club in Atlanta trying to climb out of their losing streak. Tony Kukoc from the top. Tony Kukoc from the left. But he finished with just 11. That's good news for Atlanta. Well, Brent Barry helping the Bulls shoot 57% in the first quarter alone. Look at Dikembe. The steal, the push, and the finish. But the Hawks still trailed the Bulls by 15 at halftime. In the third quarter, more ugly from Atlanta, courtesy of Alfonso Ellis. Then Mookie Blaylock. Allen Henderson was no better. The Hawks were horrible, but the Bulls weren't much better. The Bulls scored just 25 points in the second half alone, but Lenny Wilkins and company still could not beat Chicago. Steve Smith out, and the Hawks missed him terribly. He's been placed on the IR with a strained right knee, and he's expected to miss the next 7 to 10 days.
While most of the nation... Welcome back. Safe to say life's been good for Mr. George Karl with his Milwaukee Bucks off to a 5-3 start. It's also a good bet life's been outstanding for the kid they call Tractor Trailer, especially after Karl called him the best rookies ever coached. Now, the one knock on Trailer was his battle with a bulge, but those days are long gone. The Tractor's dropped 50 pounds since his days at Ann Arbor. Now he's eating up big minutes as the Bucks take on the Bulls. Kind of ugly. There, Mark Bryant and Glenn Robinson. Fourth quarter, though.
Robinson who lays it in.
Yeah, Robinson getting it done. We go to the fourth. Tony Kukoc
push it up.
Steps up. He wants 3. Give it to him. Turns into a shootout. Tony doing it again. Then it's Vinny Del Negro answering at the other end with 3 more. Charles Jones hits for Chicago. Then Del Curry right back at you. Back and forth throughout the fourth. 9 seconds to go. Game tied at 88. Terrell Brandon feeds it to Glenn Robinson. And the big dog. You got to feed the big dog because he likes to eat. Bucks up 2 with 4 seconds to go. Bulls, one last chance. Ron Harper, the vet, driving. Not going to happen. Bulls, you're not going to get any breaks this year. The Bucks take it by 2. They've won 2 straight against Chicago after losing 12 in a row. Oh, by the way, those 2 victories coming without Michael Jordan. And the Bulls have lost 8 of their last 9 ball games as the Bucks snap a 2-game skid.
Grant Hill and the Pistons.
76ers, the latest team to beat up on this year's Bulls. 98-80. It was the 6th straight loss at home for the Bulls, tying a franchise record. Get this, the Bulls only lost 4 games at home all season last year.
Straight ahead for the first time in school history. Now, back in the days when Tim Floyd was at Iowa State with visions of sugar plums dancing in his head about running the show in the NBA, even his worst nightmares probably felt pretty peaceful compared to what's become a living hell running the Chicago Bulls. His new team started the day winless at home, along with putting dibs on the worst record in the entire East. And just in case life wasn't bad enough for the new coach, Floyd gets hit with a $5,000 fine for ripping the officials. Bulls hosting the Hornets, and yeah, everybody's a comedian. Somebody thought it'd be funny to say, is that James Brown? Second quarter, Ricky Davis flying in so low. And Ricky's parents made the trip. They're digging it. Hornets up 2. Third quarter, Dickie Simpkins. Not going to make people forget about Michael Jordan, but they'll take that. Bulls up by 14. Kind of like the days with MJ. In the third, a 2-on-1. Tony Kukoc getting all kinds of play with Mike out. Tim Floyd, he's not ripping anybody tonight. They take it 94-77. The Bulls win the battle of 2-win teams, and this was Chicago's very first victory at home. They'll party all night.
Well, in an effort to bring you some quality programming, no Clippers.
Consistency. Well, Michael Jordan is denying us his basketball presence this year. That quick first step, his soft-touched fadeaway, the suffocating defense, and his tongue wagging in the wind and salivating after yet another NBA championship. Ho-hum. Yeah, Michael might be denying us all those things, but at least he's still talking to us. Sunday, he showed up at the Forum to watch some of his former teammates, and he talked to the media, but he wasn't talking about the current Bulls.
I don't try to critique him because this is a different system, different players. I watch Harp, I watch Tony, I watch some of the things, but I try not to critique him, and everybody's doing that for me. So I mean, why should I have to add on to the critiquing aspect? But it's not the same, and I know that what the Bulls meant to me a long time ago, and for the 14 years, this is different. It's a whole different era, and I let go of it. Very fortunate thing I was able to come to the game here, and I think the Laker fans, knowing that we've had our battles over the years, it paid me, a tribute, and I appreciate that.
Light goes on for the Bulls playing in Toronto Sunday. 31 seconds to play in regulation. Toronto down 3. That's D. Brown with a 3-ball to tie it. They go to overtime at 81-all in the OT. Raptors down 1. It's Brown again. It's not a replay. Another 3-pointer. Raptors have a 2-point lead. Then the game is tied with just over 5 seconds left. No Michael, no Scotty. Who's taking the shot?
Steps out on the floor. Comes off the screen. Gives it back. Brent Berry gives it back. Brown open jumper. Yes! All right. The Bulls win. Randy Brown from the left side. It bounced straight up in the air, and the Bulls get a win. How about that? On the road, 2 in a row for the Bulls.
High drama for the young bunch as Randy Brown hits the game winner in overtime for the Bulls. Kukoc, 18 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. The Bulls have won back-to-back games for the first time this season, their 4th victory of the year.
Well, it was supposed to be
We take you now to the running of the Bulls. Oh, wait, not yet. This is the Chicago Bulls dealing with the Pistons, and deal with that. Joey Dumars red hot here in the second. More of Grant Hill to Dumars for 3 more. 10 first-half points for Dumars. Pistons up 19. Later in the second, Hill alley-oop. Jerry Stackhouse. Pistons with a very healthy 10-point lead at the break. Third quarter, Bulls having some problems, though. Cornell David with the drive and the pass to, well, I think that was to Jordan, who is no longer there. Pistons with a nail-biter, 108-78. Pistons extend their winning streak to 5 games. Bulls fall to 4-11, 1-7 at home.
Well, we go from the bad Bulls to one bad Bull. That is Maradona. Years from now, trivia questions about February's NBA Player of the Month might sound a little like an old Abbott and Costello routine. It's the answer. Who? It's the answer. The answer? That's right. Who is the answer? Let me go back and forth all night on this one, I think, but I think you do get the idea as well. Allen Iverson is the answer, and he is who the NBA selected as the February Player of the Month. Nothing funny about Iverson's league-leading 29-plus points a game, nor this lead-in. He becomes only the 4th Sixer to win an NBA Player of the Month, joining Sir Charles Moses and Dr. J. But the answer, we had a question. Do I have to play tonight? I got the flu. And the answer for the answer was yes, you have to play. What does he do? First points of the night. Nothing to it. Rolling through the paint for 2. Iverson, guess he's not that sick. Later in the quarter, George Lynch up top, lobbing for Iverson. He had 10 in the first half. The Sixers led it by 5. Meanwhile, the Bulls are looking like they do these days. They look terrible. Matt Geiger knocks the ball away, and then Eric Snow give it back to him. Ooh. Geiger had 21. The Sixers led it by 14 at the half, and in the second half, it is more Iverson. With the pick, hey, don't foul him. Just give him the hoop. It's the way it's going these days. Iverson had 24. Sixers win it 102-86. The Bulls fall again. The Sixers have won 6 in a row for the first time in almost 13 years, but I don't know if this counts because 2 of those wins have come at the expense of Chicago. Right after the game, Eric Collins went looking for the answers from the answer.
Well, not exactly a typical day for Allen Iverson, but a typical night for the leading scorer in the NBA. Allen, bedridden earlier today, couldn't shoot around. He got a bit of the flu, but still came out and poured it on the Chicago Bulls, 24 points tonight. How are you feeling during the game?
I felt all right. I mean, I was feeling a little bad before the game, but, you know, once I stepped out on the court, you know, I knew that, you know, it was time to play ball. And, you know, if I didn't feel that I couldn't play, I wouldn't have played because I owe it to myself and to my teammates, to my coaching staff, you know, to come out there and be able to play on 100%.
And it's not just the points anymore with Allen Iverson, it's the wins. 6 consecutive wins after tonight. How good can this team be?
Sky's the limit, you know. I feel like if we keep playing defense the way we've been playing, I mean, the sky's the limit for us, you know. People talk about all the different teams in the East, you know. We just want to be humble, you know. We just want to keep winning and then sneak up on some people, you know. It's going to be teams that come in here and think they're going to get an easy win, or we go there and they think they're going to get an easy win. But if they think that, they're going to be in for a long night.
Well, Allen Iverson leading the way. The Philadelphia 76ers now 10-5 on the season. For Allen Iverson, I'm Eric Collins for Fox Sports News, Philadelphia.
Right now, we're time. The Bulls and the Bucks in Milwaukee. And off the missed shot, Brett Berry with a rebound, looking to Randy Brown. Part of an 8-1 Bulls run. George Karl actually pulled his starters after the first quarter because they were playing, as he said, lackadaisical ball. Berry, nothing lackadaisical about that. He had 19 points. Bulls a 10-point lead at the half. Second half, Terrell Brandon to Ray Allen. Bucks get the lead for the first time. Allen finished with 17, and then in the second half, Milwaukee on a roll. Allen drawing the defense, then goes to Michael Curry for the jumper. George Karl says, all right, that's the way the starters should play. Tim Floyd said, well, I got a lot of work to do here. 81-76 the final. The Bucks have now won a season-high 4 consecutive games. Brandon, subject to trade rumors, had 14, but George Karl says, hey, right now we don't plan on dealing him away.
To basically, the Nets and Bulls were also in action, and that's John Calipari saying, we're not good. Second half action, Brent Berry makes the steal, and then he's going to go all the way down there and just throw it down right over Jason Williams. Bulls up 11 after 3. Fourth quarter, Jason Williams, he throws it away. Berry to Kukoc, who finds Dickie Simpkins. Can you believe it, for the jam? Chicago, first time all year they scored more than 100 points. They get 103-87 over the Nets. I'll tell you, Tony Kukoc and Ron Harper, they combined for 53 of the Bulls' 103 points.
Golden State has won 6.
Sonics looking to cure their 5-game losing streak at the right place. Chicago. Brett Berry on the break, jamming it home, and Dad Rick says, that's my boy. Or maybe he was talking about that. The Bulls staff can't believe it. What the heck was that?
What was that look?
Under a minute left, Gary Payton puts the nail in the coffin with the 3-ball. Sonics break their losing streak. Seattle wins 92-83. Hey, you get your Hooter babes. I get that guy.
Wow.
Sonics' third road game in 3 nights. I'd like to request another guy, though. A 1-2 record.
You can have that guy. I'm taking the Hooters.
Thursday night at the United Center, a stellar defensive performance by the Chicago Bulls held the Knicks to a record-tying 19 baskets made. Meanwhile, the Bulls reeled off 18 straight first-quarter points to take command and never looked back as they dropped their arch-rival 76-63. Tonight, the Bulls hope to close out the homestand on a winning note. Sean Kemp comes flying into the UC next.
Phil Jackson may be long gone in Chicago, but his voice is still ringing in the ears of Tony Kukoc. Jackson would often hound Kukoc about his lack of rebounding, and this year, Tony leads the team in boards, and if he maintains his pace of just under 8 a game, he'll establish a career best. The Cavs and the Bulls going at it in Chicago, and here is Kukoc driving right past Danny Ferry. He had a team-high 22. End of the first half, tied at 44. Watch this. Cornell David jams it in to put the Bulls up 2, but Cedric Henderson takes the inbound pass and throws it from the deep end of the ocean. And that deserves a wow. 75-footer. Jerry Krause just checking the salary list there. Regulation not enough. In overtime, Cavs by 3. Cedric Henderson started it with defense, the hoop, and the harm. Cavs get their first win in Chicago in 4 years. Of course, that guy Jordan was playing a lot during that time. Kukoc, by the way, a season-high 12 rebounds, so a double-double And as we mentioned, Henderson with 22, leading the Cavs in overtime.
Another score to pass along to you.
Come on.
We're happy for you there, Eddie. Bo Outlaw missing his third straight game for Orlando. Didn't seem too upset. Why? The Chicago Bulls in town. Darrell Armstrong rocking the rims in a magical way. Shot clock winding down. Armstrong for 13 first half points for that fella. Fourth quarter. Here come the Bulls. Boy, aren't we scared. Tony Kukoc. Oh, the Bulls took the lead. But in the end, Nick Anderson for 3, and Chuck Daly enjoying it. How often do you get to say this? Not lately. The Bulls are 10 games below 500. The Chicago Bulls just stink. The Magic are 12-1 at home. That'll do it. Thank you, Elise. Now back to the pro game where the Nets were looking to continue some of that Tony Robbins motivational magic and karate chop.
Oh, no.
Their 9-game drought in the city of Chicago as they hooped in the city of Chicago. Thank you. Randy Brown to Ronnie Harper. Thank you, Ronnie. Harper had 18. Bulls had a 9-point lead later in the third. Look at the passing from the home team in the United Center.
Randy Brown.
That's beautiful. All 5 Bulls starters finished in double figures. Chicago all over the gnarly Nets. Brent Barry, no. Simpkins, yes. Rocking it. 17 for him. Bulls win it by 9 as the Nets lose their 10th in a row in the city of Chicago. They were playing their 3rd game in 3 nights on their 6-game roadie.
Rematch of the Eastern Conference Final, Bulls at Pacers. Larry Bird and the Pacers trying to avoid losing 3 straight first half. Tony Kukoc spins, scores, and gets the foul. Bird's team trailed by as many as 10. Pacers respond second half. Reggie Miller, 3, and a foul. Chris Mullen, 3. Pacers come back to take the lead. Then Indiana just puts it away. Travis Best, watch the nice spin and drive to the basket, up and in, and a foul. Tim Floyd and the Bulls lose 96-87. Indiana snaps a 2-game losing streak.
You knew it was only a matter of...
It's 31. And Rodman saying hi to Chuck Daly as the Lakers win 115-104. They're 10-0 with Rodman in the lineup. You could blame the head coaches of the Bulls and Celtics for harkening back to those college days for a moment this time of year. Rick Pitino won the NCAA title with Kentucky in '96, a far cry from where he is with the Celtics. Tim Floyd didn't get that far, but at Iowa State certainly made a difference, helping the program as the Cyclones went to the tournament 3 of his 4 years there. People are noticing Floyd's skills in the NBA, even though the Bulls are at the bottom of their division. Bulls and Celtics, Floyd and Pitino going at each other. Ron Harper's shot partially blocked, and he lands awkwardly. And to break the fall, his left hand diagnosed with a dislocated index finger and a strained knee. He did not return in the game. Fourth quarter, 45 seconds left. Bulls down 3, but look at Dickie Simpkins just kind of throws it in there and gets the call. He completed the 3-point play. We go to overtime. And in the OT, Bulls battling on the boards. Randy Brown misses, but stays with it and tips it in. He had 16. And the Bulls win it over the Celtics in OT, 95-92. Barry and Kukoc each had 20. Antoine Walker, 2 of 15 from the floor, had only 6 points. He came into the game averaging more than 20.
Hornets and Bucks, and guess who's in it?
3 postseason games.
With the Chicago Bulls offseason exodus, you got to think hard just to name a stud from those dynasty years that's still on the club. Now, I got one for you, but even now he won't be playing because he's hurt. Ron Harper is down with a hyperextended knee. The injury, which occurred in a rare Bulls victory on Sunday, is expected to keep Harp out between 10 days and 2 weeks. Let's go to those Raptors-Bulls highlights. First quarter off the Chicago turnover. Tracy McGrady outlets to Vince Carter. Carter, where's the D? Goes right in for the jam. He would complete the 3-point play after the foul there. He finished with 24 points, 11 boards. First quarter action continuing. Toronto running. McGrady out in front. He takes the pass and dunks. Raptors outscored the Bulls 31-9 in the first. Second quarter off the Bulls turnover. Stop me when this gets familiar here. McGrady dribbles through traffic. Then check this out. Oh, monster jam right over Cornell David. Then he says, yee-haw! McGrady finished with 8 points. Let's take another look at that one. Ride that drama bull right there, McGrady does. Harper not happy with the Bulls play. Raptors winning it 113-90. Toronto wins in the United Center for the very first time.
It's a little consolation, but after a dismal...
When you talk about bad movies, perhaps Ishtar or Attack of the Killer Tomatoes come to mind. Bad hair, yeah, give that one to Don King. Bad female judgment, got to go with Bill Clinton. All right, enough of that already, but when we talk about bad basketball, it's the Bulls. So bad they make the Clippers look like a real team. The Bulls are running in the hive, trying not to get stung. Second quarter, time winding down. Eldridge Kastner finds Eddie Jones on the back door. Cut and he stuffs it. Tim Floyd disturbed. What's new? Third quarter, Brent Berry passes to the old Bill Wennington, who attempts the dunk, but wedges the ball between the backboard and the rim. A wedge, you ever had one of those? Fourth quarter, Kastner finds Brad Miller. That's a Showtime jam. He's pumped. Miller finished with 25. Fourth quarter, Hornets put it away. Corey Beck with the steal, delivers the alley-oop to Rick Davis. Hornets just crushing the Bulls. Look at this. It's embarrassing. 120-81. Chicago's lost 5 of its last 7. The Hornets shot a season-high 57% from the field.
Rudy T's Rockets have beaten the Mavs.
Blaylock scoots inside, puts it up. And now the good news.
Welcome back to the action. Although it was Mookie Blaylock who hit the game winner against Indiana Wednesday, the resurgence of the Hawks has been linked directly to the return of the inside play. Coach Lenny Wilkins says he remembers Dikembe Mutombo and Alan Henderson from last season, implying that the two were basically AWOL as the Hawks started the season just 8-8. But they're back on their game, and the Hawks are on fire. Atlanta could probably win without the pair as they take on the incapable Bulls, and referee Dick Bavetta putting on his best moves there. Second quarter, Chicago's Dickie Simpkins takes advantage of Atlanta's lack of D for the jam. Bulls led by 4 at the break. Second half, Mutombo puts on a block party. Cornell David is blocked on the drive. David again, you're swatted away. Bill Wennington down low. The mountain. Mutombo is too high. Fourth quarter, Atlanta pulls away. Grant Long to steal. All the way down. Vertical aerobics. And Tim Floyd, oh, how many times have we seen that picture this year? It's going to keep happening. 93-81, Dikembe with 18 points and 5 blocks, but Atlanta reserve guard Ed Gray charged with drug possession and DUI after a Georgia State trooper stopped him for a minor traffic violation. He was released on bond after spending the night in jail.
The answer is Allen Iverson. The question?
Check out the Bulls and Raptors first quarter action. Raptors running off the outlet pass. Look at Vince Carter. My goodness. Athletic lay-in right there. Raptors up 5. Second quarter, Toronto rebounds. Tracy McGrady hooking up with Carter, and McGrady right back with the old give and go for the slam. Part of a 10-2 run to end the half. Now, check out this one with Doug Christie. Watch Vince Carter. Oh, my goodness. Oh, nobody can believe it, including Ron Harper and Randy Brown. They can't watch. A big smile for the rookie. Toronto knocks off Chicago for the second time in 5 days. Carter with 22 points and 6 blocks on the evening. Well, a great storyline.
There's hockey-like behavior. We're going to begin with a major development in the Michael Jordan Charlotte Hornets story. This could shake the very foundation of the NBA greater than Jordan's retirement did. Fox Sports News has obtained dramatic new information about Jordan's plans. Our senior correspondent Keith Olbermann, on assignment in Las Vegas, has this exclusive report.
Fox Sports News has learned that Michael Jordan is considering returning to the NBA as a player for the Charlotte Hornets. Yesterday, in a written statement, Jordan confirmed the previously dismissed speculation that he was interested in buying part of his home state's beleaguered franchise, saying he would, quote, welcome the opportunity to be involved in growing the Hornets into an elite NBA team. Growing may include playing. Sources close to Jordan quote him as saying that he, quote, has to stay in shape, unquote, because the first of several scenarios being considered would have Jordan play 1 season for Charlotte, presumably next season, and then retire again to assume part ownership of the team. Jordan's most recent retirement on January 13th decimated the Chicago Bulls and shook the NBA. But even as he walked out, Jordan left his door ajar, if only by a fraction.
Michael, is there any chance whatsoever that you'll change your mind somewhere down the road and return?
No. I never say never, but 95, 99.9%, I'm very secure with my decision.
Why do you have to walk out of here with that 1% in your pocket?
Because it's my 1% and not yours.
Yesterday, Jordan said he had been approached about the Hornets by current Charlotte owner George Shinn and by NBA Commissioner David Stern. Now Fox Sports News has also learned it was Stern who brought Jordan and Shinn together. Stern has previously sought to buttress the weaker sisters among the league ownership groups, most notably in Denver in 1989, and there is no question that currently optimism in Charlotte is hushed. The Hornets recently unloaded their top salaried player, Glenn Rice, to the Lakers. They saw Coach Dave Cowens quit before they could fire him after he protested being the league's lowest paid bench boss. They continue to struggle through Shinn's unending personal disasters, ranging from a divorce to allegations of harassment. Jordan, as an owner, could reinvigorate the once promising Charlotte market. Jordan, as a player, could electrify it. While Jordan has told intimates that he has not yet decided about going back on the court, a one-year return is, say these same sources, part of his best-case scenario. Namely, Jordan as a player with his 50% or more stake in the franchise deferred or held in trust for a year. Phil Jackson, the Dalai Lama of Deer Lodge, Montana, as the Hornets coach for at least that year, and as originally reported by a Charlotte news outlet weeks ago and widely dismissed, Dean Smith, Jordan's college coach at North Carolina and the personification of basketball in that state, as the Hornets team president. Again, Jordan is not certain on a comeback, but that he should even seriously consider another return to the NBA, and in his virtual hometown, with a farewell tour built into the equation, dynamically changes the landscape of pro hoops, as only Michael Jordan, whether with a soaring leap to the basket or just a few words to friends, can do. Keith Olbermann, Fox Sports News, Las Vegas.
Thanks, Keith. The office for Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk, has no comment, but our Randy Sparagi did get reaction from both Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen.
It's very shocking to me. I mean, I don't see Michael coming back playing. You know, I spoke with him about, you know, him getting involved with the franchise, but we never spoke on him coming back to play, so that's a new one on me.
Would it surprise you, though, to see him come back next season?
I would be very surprised if he came back next season. I really would be, and I think he would do a disservice to himself. I mean, he's going to make his own final decision, but I think he'd do a disservice to himself coming back. I think all athletes who keep coming back over and over always do a disservice to themselves when they're competing against their past.
Well, time to check out the action on...
Bulls fans knew they were in for a long season after watching the guy who got all the rings and then run for the door. The exit of Michael made things difficult, and players on Chicago's roster are still getting to know each other and still having trouble getting to know wins. The Bulls, losers of 4 straight, hoping to come together against the Sixers. Philadelphia had lost back-to-back games, and Philadelphia struggling in this one. Eric Snow on the dribble drive. Sixers trailing. He gets it to go, but Philadelphia down 2 at the break. Fourth quarter, Matt Geiger and Mark Bryant battling under the boards and a little too close.
Ooh.
And it looks like an episode of Jerry Springer.
And he looks like Steve, the bouncer.
Both of them were ejected. Steve at our studio, Steve?
No, Steve on Jerry Springer.
Oh, on that show. All right, Tony Kukoc from Dickie Simpkins got 2 of his 26, and the Bulls knocked them off 91 to 81. Iverson, by the way, scored in double figures in 42 straight games, 27 in this one. Chicago snapping that losing skid.
All right, let's talk about Rockets and Clippers. And early on, here's Billy Crystal. Joe Dumars honored in Detroit, playing in career game number 1,000. Good job, Joe. Against the Bulls, Grant Hill looking for Bison Dele, the player formerly known as Brian Williams. And then you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Dele found Hill, then Don Reed, and then Lindsey Hunter to Reed, and things are going well for Detroit. Second half, the Bulls get frustrated. Hill drives the lane. Dickie Simpkins sends him down. Hey, maybe some aftertaste from the lockout. Hill takes exception. There you see Simpkins just pulverizing Hill there. Hill would stay in the game, and Pistons fans let Simpkins know, hey, you don't mess with the franchise. Dickie says, I got your franchise right here, all right? Come on. You want a piece of me? Well, Dickie, a lot of people want a piece of the Bulls this year. 107-75, Detroit. They've won 6 straight, 8 of their last 9. Grant Hill had 18 points and 11 assists for the Pistons.
All right, the Frozen Four we were talking about.
Foxco.
Magic in the Windy City taking on the Bulls. First quarter, Magic up 7. Penny Hardaway, watch him, drives that baseline. The sweet reverse lay-in. Penny had 14 in the first quarter. Second quarter, Magic pulling away up 17. Michael Doliak, the brick miss. Dominique Wilkins, the follow-up hammer jam. Later, more Magic. Watch in transition, Darrell Armstrong, 2-ball fakes. and goes in alone. Armstrong had 17. Bulls having problems with everything. The wheels just coming off. On the break, watch Cornell David. How do you miss a jam like that? You've got problems. You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a shovel. Magic just whipped the Bulls. I need to go easy on them, shouldn't I? They're having a rough year. You're right. 115-68. This was the Bulls' worst loss ever by 47 points. That's a beatdown. Chicago only shot 38%. Oh. If the New Jersey day in Milwaukee.
Check it out. Bulls win.
No way.
Bulls win. Holy cow. 88-87 the final. The Bulls win their 10th of the year. Unbelievable. They're 7-0 all time versus Vancouver. We're going to have
Sunday night, Mark Bryant came up huge. The power forward scored a season-high 25 points as Chicago looked to end a two-game slide. But veteran leadership finally won it in the end. Tony Kukoc's stellar defense deflated the Grizzlies and preserved an 88-87 victory over Vancouver. Tonight, the Bulls are on the shores of a great lake. It's going to be an eerie sight for the Cavs. Next.
Did you miss a month?
Bulls and Cavaliers. You know the score before I even tell you. Cavaliers winning this one 96-89. Sean Kemp, 25 points and 11 rebounds. Brevin Knight, 19 points and 15 assists. And our favorite, Dickie Simpkins for the Bulls. He had 21 points. Well, to golf we go now.
Wesley Person pushing him over the edge early. Both very tentative at the start of this game, and it really cost them. Tony Kukoc stripped an easy hoop right there for the Cavs. 36-17 after one. Bulls held tight after that, though. Good bench play. Rusty LaRue downtown. Cornell David's best post production of the year. Bulls rallied, but not that close, as Person kept them at a 19-point distance at halftime. Climbing that hill in the second half, David again at 16. That's a career high for him. And Randy Brown, slicing through the lane, cut the lead to 7. Bulls would get as close as 5 before this one ended. But Person, 4 of 6 from downtown, and a big game from Sean Kemp as well, as the Cavaliers win it 96-89. Indiana means
6-game losing skid.
Well, this used to be big doing. Pacers, Bulls. Not the same anymore. You know what I mean? Dickie Simpkins, drive, dunk, it works. Then Randy Brown feeds Dickie again. He slams it home. Larry Bird sings shades of Game 7. It is the same. Scary moment here in the second quarter. Watch Brent Berry's right ankle. Ouch. He left and would not come back. Second half, Pacers blowing it open. It's not the same. See, Mark Jackson, great pass to Dale Davis, and that is Rick Smith to Davis again. Even the mascot had to be carried off. Pacers take it 91-74. The final score, the Pacers win in their first trip to Chicago since Game 7 of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. Indiana takes their 4th straight victory.
Let's catch you up on a little
Eastern Conference.
Let's show you the heat up in Chicago. Pat Riley with the league's best defense taking on the Bulls and their non-existent offense. Bulls start off struggling. Tony Kukoc misses the baseliner. Mark Bryant misses from the same spot. No one can hit from there. Ron Harper, watch him. He got lots of air there. Bulls missed their first 13 shots and only 8 points in the quarter, but Miami turns up the heat. Zoe moving in the paint. Monster jam. Look at those white jerseys standing around like, geez, what happened there? Second half, Bulls not getting any better. Bill Wennington, a miss. Corey Carr. Watch this. Just more air. Oh, Kukoc. They're just throwing rocks at the backboard. Tolbert, this is just brutal. Bulls shoot 23% from the field. I mean, look at Tim Floyd. This short season can't be short enough. The Heat win in a blowout, 82-49. The Bulls were just 18 of 77 from the floor. What in the wide world of sports, can I ask you, Tom Tolbert, is going on with that Bulls team? We knew they would be bad.
Ugly.
But this is ridiculous, man.
Let me tell you guys something.
Please do. Give me an answer.
I, at one point, left like a carton of milk in my car in Tucson for about a month.
Yeah.
And that didn't stink as bad as the Bulls did tonight. I've had guys on my team that have scored 50 points, and they can only come with 49. I mean, that is just absolutely horrendous. But they're the Bulls. They got their championships. Don't worry about the Bulls. Anyways, we're going to talk about the Cavaliers.
Win it over Portland. Antoine Walker and the Celtics hosting the Bulls. First quarter, Walker going to throw up a 3-ball, and that goes. He was excited because they were tied. Boston finds a team they can beat. Walker again, the hoop, the harm. He finished with 23. The Celtics get the win, 87-81. A couple of other games.
Unbearable, unbelievable, terrible, lamentable.
Not lovable?
Lovable, no. Word geeks have had their fair share of joy since the Bulls posted a bulimic 49 points against the Heat over the weekend. 37 times in Michael Jordan's career, he went for 49 or more on his own. With Chicago, they're getting used to ugly numbers this year, like the one in Las Vegas that lists the Bulls 5,000 to 1 to win the NBA championship. Bulls in Miami. Tim Floyd
comes off the screen.
Hoping to get no bull. First half, Tony Kukoc stripped of the ball here. Miami plays a great defense, but Cornell Davis here just kind of throws it away.
It flows to the lane like Miami did.
And then Keith Booth is rejected.
And Tim Floyd has just been
lamentable. Tim Floyd frustrated. He was actually ejected with the Bulls down 20 at the half. Second half, Rusty LaRue rejected. Terrible. And then Kukoc, who led them with 25, misses the runner. Unbearable as Miami wins at a laugher. 90-74. I want to thank the guys in graphics for working overtime. Miami's won 6 in a row. They're now 2 games behind Orlando in the Atlantic Division, and Heat head coach Pat Riley passing Red Auerbach for 3rd place with the most regular season victories, 939.
Recapping the Knicks.
36 in the second half. Allen Iverson, 20 points on 9 of 25 shooting. Charlotte center Derek Coleman.
Now for the NBA, or is it the soap opera digest? Anyway, it's the latest installment of As the Worm Turns. After being released by the Lakers Thursday, Dennis Rodman could be headed to Death Row. Death Row Records, that is. LA-based Death Row Records has offered Rodman a job in the Artist Relations Department. Meanwhile, the Worm's life in the NBA is over, at least for this season, because March 17th was the deadline for teams to sign players so they can be eligible for postseason play. Despite his latest stint with the Lakers, Rodman hopes to stay in the good graces of his fans.
I always lose in this game. No matter what I do, I'm always losing. You know, and I've been so good for the league. And you know, I'm not a Michael Jordan, but I'm on the other side. So hopefully that people don't dislike me because of that. I always respect Kurt Rambis. I respect the guys on the team, and you know, that'll just move on.
A lot to talk about.
From the good to the bad and the ugly, Chicago can't get it done. Washington beat them. The 70 points was the fewest ever scored against the Wizards. The Bulls have now lost a season-high 7 straight. And look at the Clippers.
Tony Kukoc led the way for the Chicago Bulls with 22 points here tonight, including that open floor score. Ray Allen did his best for Milwaukee, but it was unable to get it done here tonight. Milwaukee struggled from the field most of the evening. Mark Bryant, nice interior feed. The flush by Dickie Simpkins. And I'll tell you something, you take a look at this situation. George Karl shakes his head. The Bucks lose their 2nd in a row as the Bulls win tonight here at the United Center. Stay tuned for WGN News next.
Bulls in action. Check out the Bulls. Break them up. They've won 2 in a row for just the 2nd time this season. Otis Thorpe became the 16th player in NBA history to have 15,000 points and 10,000 rebounds. Tony Kukoc left that game in the 4th quarter with a separated shoulder. All right, from the...
As we showed you earlier in the program, Michael Jordan was in attendance at the Lakers' remarkable comeback. Fox Sports Net Bay Area's Brian Weber had a brief chat with his Hornets.
How closely have you been following the league since you retired?
I haven't really been following that much. I've been, you know, I watched a couple of games. I talked to a lot of good friends of mine, Rod Higgins and some of the other guys in the league, and you know, they keep me abreast of what's happening, but I've been pretty busy.
You've said you're 99.9% sure you're not coming back. You sticking to that number?
Yes. And actually, it's increasing to closer to 100.
Well, here are the headlines in the paper.
Back since the tragedy, the Warriors, with the loss, dropped 2.5 games behind Sacramento and Seattle for the final playoff spot in the West. Also, Boston taking care of Chicago, 171 the final score. No big shocker there as Boston wins the season series for the first time in a very long time. Still so much, though, since '88 as he suffered the loss.
And more NBA. And you know, Michael Jordan's retirement has been a nightmare for the Bulls, but a dream come true for the rest of the league since his departure. Not only opens up championship possibilities for teams, but MVP possibilities for the rest of the players. Our John Kelly has a look at some of the MVP candidates under the spotlight.
Intel presents this Fox Sports News Spotlight.
There's actually some good that came out of Michael Jordan's retirement. Almost everything in the league is up for grabs now, and that includes the most valuable player. Maybe the top candidate this year is a guy who actually won it over MJ 2 years ago. That's Karl Malone. For the second straight year, the Jazz have a shot at finishing with the NBA's best overall record, and the mailman is delivering again, averaging nearly 24 points a game. On top in the East are the Miami Heat, and Alonzo Mourning is doing it at both ends of the court, scoring 20 points a game, leading the league in blocked shots, and he's also 6th in rebounding. Of course, don't forget about Shaq Diesel. At 7'1" and tons of fun and over 300 pounds, he's by far the league's most visible player. He's scoring more points than anybody else, and he leads the league in field goal percentage. That's because nobody can touch these. And if anybody tries, they might lose a hand.
I don't like anybody. If they don't have a Laker uniform on, I don't like them. I don't care who it is. I don't care what their stats are. I don't care if they're great top 50 list or whatever. They ain't got the same uniform on the court. I don't like them.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar answered to the name Lou Alcindor the last time a player won the MVP award the year after taking Rookie of the Year honors. Could Tim Duncan be next? Well, he's the only player in the league in the top 10 in scoring, rebounds, blocked shots, and field goal percentage, and the Spurs have won 24 of their last 28 games.
That'll work. That will work.
Now, one dark horse candidate comes from the West, and that's Chris Webber. He leads the NBA in rebounds and double-doubles, and combined with rookie sensation Jason Williams, the Kings could finish with a winning record for the first time since 1983.
I want to be perceived as one of the best players. I work very hard at what I do, and I love what I do.
One thing Allen Iverson loves to do is shoot the rock. For most of the year, he's been the league's leading scorer. However, recently, his point totals have gone down. But that's a good thing, because now he's passing the ball. A little more, anyway.
He's never had a lot of discipline. But the bottom line is he wants to win and wants to do the right thing. Sometimes it just doesn't appear that way.
While Iverson is probably out of the running now, one thing is apparent. Just like the race to qualify for the playoffs and battle for home court advantage in both conferences, the race for MVP is very much up for grabs.
Spotlight has been brought to you by the Intel Pentium 3 processor.
Hey, when we come... Hey, how about some NBA action on the floor? Bulls and Pacers, and look at Brent Barry go through that Matador Pacer defense. Larry Bird didn't like that, but he did like the fact that Reggie Miller and his team rallied and eventually took a 4-point lead on Tim Floyd's team. In the fourth quarter, Pacers sporting a 10-point advantage when Antonio Davis completed the job at hand as the Pacers completed a season sweep of the Chicago Bulls for the first time ever. More importantly, the Pacers now just one game behind Miami for the top seed in the Eastern Conference.
Nets at the Hornets.
Pull it off. Bulls and Mavericks. Mavericks win this one 101-93. Sean Bradley had 17 rebounds in the first half. He had more rebounds in the first quarter than the entire Bulls team. And let's check out the...
Still, that 6'11" frame got the job done.
Bill Wennington, very limited playing time, his only bucket of the evening.
I can tell you this, he's a good outside shooter on a regular basis and utilize that by going outside.
Bradley, there is simply no matchup for him in this situation.
Well, there's no matchup, but somebody's got to be aware of his body, trying to frame him up and block him out. And also in this one, Chet, pick and roll, as you put it before, textbook pick and roll. You couldn't beat that.
And we zip it up with Tony from downtown. It was a 3-point ball game at the break. All right, let's continue. We go back to the second half, once again down there in Big D, where lizard skin cowboy boots are a way of life. Cornell David, once again, he is active, comes up with a very, very strong second half.
Well, like quicker than we expect on this, and anticipation is a great game for him.
Right now, Bulls active hands, they lead by 9 here, Judge.
Ron Harper was leading the way, great break, and once again, here's a guy that can finish, Cornell David. He's finishing as well as anybody I've seen.
Rusty LaRue got real hot into the close of period number 3.
We showed 2 in a row here, but he actually hit 3 in a row from that same spot, and also chipping in was Tony from the top of the key with a 3-pointer.
Now the Mavericks on the break. There is Trent and Michael Finley, who was splendid.
Now that shot he has right there reminds me of Cassie Russell.
Good old
great
Cassie.
little jump hook in there. Finley was great tonight with 26 points.
Bradley, you talk about Cassie Russell, of course, my friend. You're talking about the pride and joy of Carver High School.
Yeah, one of the class guys.
Absolutely.
In the business.
Former New York Knick. Dallas 101, Chicago 93. Rusty LaRue, talk to his partner.
You know, my goal is, your goal as a player is to end the year strong, and I'm trying to do that. And I think
Fox Sports News this morning. The best 24 hours of sports news wrapped into 30 minutes.
John Elway may be Captain Comeback, but the comeback team of this wild and wacky NBA season has to be the Charlotte Hornets. They started the year with a 1-8 record, but have since climbed back to the 500 mark, and going into Friday's action, still had a very good chance at making the playoffs as they hosted the Bulls of Chicago. And early on, it was Chucky Brown to Eddie Jones, and the Hornets led it by just one over Tim Floyd's club. And in the second quarter, they had a 6-point advantage when Ricky Davis threw it down reverse style. Hornets led by 6 at halftime. Fourth quarter,
Goes to him on the block.
Charlotte was down to the Bulls by a point, but Eldon Campbell changed that quickly. And then with 40 seconds left,
Wesley, quick ball movement.
Chucky Brown could not connect. Bobby Phills worked the offensive glass and did. And Paul Silas and company prevailed by 4 over the Bulls to move to within 1 game of the final playoff spot in the East as they hand the Bulls their 12th straight loss on the road.
Raptors at the Cavs, this would be a good time to roll those VCRs because it's Vince Carter.
On to a different horse race, the one in the NBA East. Thanks to the NBA's shortened season, the field is still choked with horses coming down the stretch, with just 6.5 games separating the front-running Heat from the last playoff spot. The good news for Miami, all they got to do is beat the Bulls and Hornets this weekend to wrap up the first-ever Eastern Conference title, and that should be a walk on the playground. But the Heat will have to hoop it up at least one more time without the hot hand of Zoe. Alonzo Mourning is still out with a fracture to the right orbit. That is a broken eye bone to those of us out of the medical field. There's Zoe. First quarter, Heat down 1. Jamal Mashburn watched to Terry Porter for the triple at the buzzer. Heat up 2 after 1. Second half, it's all Ron Harper in control. From the corner, no sweat. Harper again from outside. Harper, the pull-up, the deuce over defenders. Finally, the long 3 to beat the shot clock. All 25 of Harper's points came in the second half. Wow, the Heat fall to the Bulls. 101-86. Bulls snap a 12-game road losing streak. Zoe missed his 3rd straight game due to that eye problem. He may be available Sunday against Charlotte. So here's a look at the Upper East Side. It's still expensive up there, with the Heat and Magic now sharing the penthouse. Orlando has just 1 game left on Wednesday against the Bulls. Meanwhile, Sunday, it's a chance for the top teams to knock somebody off the bottom rung of the ladder when Miami plays Charlotte and the Pacers host the Knicks.
Unfortunately, we have 4.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights, and we go back, harken back to the first half of the Bulls. Actually took control of this game in the second quarter. But Miami, early going, they had it working to Hardaway.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway had 17 of his 20 in the first half, but the Bulls executed all night long, got real good looks. The bench played terrific in the first half, scored 25 points. Rusty LaRue had 9 of those, 25. And Tony was effective down on the block all night long. He makes a great fake to the baseline to free himself up. Nice spin move to the middle. And Mark Bryant, a good spin move. The Bulls attacked the paint area all night long. Then when they struggled a little bit in the second half, Ron Harper bailed him out with his perimeter game. Shot the ball very, very well. Here you see Strickland run right by him. Harp gets a rhythm jumper. But it was his 3-point shooting, especially to bail out the shot clock, that really helped the Bulls. This one, a good 4 feet from behind the 3-point line. Harper was in rhythm the entire second half.
And that one, as you mentioned at the time, they have broken the back of the Miami Heat. Take a look at that. Season-high shooting, 58% from the field for the Bulls. They even made their free throws, 18 of 20 from the free throw line. Held a big edge on the boards overall, and points in the paint. Boy, you see the absence of Alonzo Mourning right there. And then, of course, the turnovers, not really much of a factor for either team in this ball game.
Well, again, it goes back to having a game plan coming in. And the game plan was, with Alonzo Mourning out of the lineup, to go and attack them inside. The Bulls did it from the very beginning. You look at the points in the paint, that's a huge number. And also the fact that you go back to the 2 games that the Bulls played against Miami before this. As a team, they blocked 20 shots in those 2 games. Alonzo Mourning had 12, 7 in the first game, 5 in the second. And the Bulls tonight were able to attack because he wasn't down there. Miami had just 2 blocked shots in this game.
It was kind of an interesting, and again here tonight, though, the Bulls snap a 12-game losing streak on the road. Ron Harper, 26 6 feet away, beats the buzzer on that tray to break the back of the Miami Heat, and the Bulls go on to their 13th victory of the season. We thank all of you for watching the Chicago Bulls on WGN television this season. Special thanks to our director, Skip Ellison, along with Arnie Harris, who did some directing for us earlier, John Walgren, Mark Brady, the commander, Pete Toma, has been with us. They have worked in the truck and been a great help to all of us. For John Paxson, and Pax, a pleasure working with you this year.
Same with you, Wayne.
Stay tuned for the White Sox and the Anaheim Angels. They're coming up next right here on WGN TV. Good night, everybody.
A foreign exchange student moves.
All right, thank you very much, Elise. Another NBA final in. The Pistons win with Grant Hill, 20 points. Detroit now sweeps the season series, and the Pistons 6 in a row. They're a game and a half ahead of Philadelphia and Milwaukee for that 5th spot in the East. So if the playoffs were to start right now, and again, Wednesday is the end of the regular season, this is what it looked like in the East. The Knicks end the season Wednesday against Miami. They could face those bitter rivals in the first round. Central Division champ Indiana would match up with the Bucks. Third-seeded Orlando could face Philly, and then the Hawks would match up with Grant Hill and the Pistons.
Well, in the... This number just leaps off the page. You almost wonder if it's a misprint, my friend. Detroit Pistons shot 65% tonight in his blowout victory over the Chicago Bulls. Norm, let's go back to second half action. Right off the top, we are going to look very explosively at, first half action. I apologize. Yeah. Kukoc down to a car.
It has to be because they didn't do a thing in the second half, my friend. That being the Bulls. So they moved the ball well, but once again, Chet, as you see, turnovers by the Bulls led to fast breaks earlier part of this game to set the tempo.
Stackhouse there with the bucket. Now, alley-oop time. Former North Carolina Tar Heel.
That would happen once in the year, and that would be the beginning, because you'll never get another one of those again. But that, once again,
Bison Daly. Steal, goes right for the slam jam.
And after a turnover, once again, get the break going. It's hard to stop these teams when you have that type of talent running down the basketball court. They move the ball very well, though. I love the way Detroit handles the ball and move it with each other and passing off to each other.
Are they physical enough? Do they have the mean edge required to advance in postseason basketball?
I think today, I don't know about physical play being something to win ball games any longer, in my opinion. I'm sure when you go to East, when you deal with Miami, their style, New York, basically in the past, their style, most of these teams, if you shoot well, if you run and execute in those areas, and I think if Detroit shoots the ball well, they can compete with anybody in the playoffs. However, if they're not hitting that jump shot, believe me, I think they're in trouble because they rely on the perimeter shot, and they're going to live and die by that sword or whatever it is, because I don't think they have enough of an inside game to negate the outside shooting.
One of these days, we'll probably talk about this guy the same way that we are discussing Joe Dumars tonight, a guy who, once again, just drips with class. Grant Hill, brilliant tonight for the Detroit Pistons and Alvin Gentry. We're going to pick up Grant here with just a series of outstanding offensive moves.
Well, then again, he just went to work. He took young people and down low. You remember he said earlier he's not a 6'8". I said, well, he plays 7 foot, and he plays that. He went outside, he went inside. He had everything going, and when you're on a roll, you got the one-on-one moves, and once again, the other teammates were hitting some of their shots earlier, opening up for him, and I said he will go to work and dissect you in a minute.
Norm, look at Stack, the behind-the-back wrap-around pass for the layup.
You know when you got the open court game and you can do those type of things, showboat time, talent would take over, and when you're beating someone that badly, you can afford to maybe have some fun at that particular time.
All right, once again, Pistons win big, 115-71. Detroit previously beaten Chicago, I believe, by an average of 30 points in their 2 meetings. Ron Harper at 17 to lead the Bulls this season. I'm almost afraid to bring this up, but is there any positive? Is there anything Tim Floyd takes out of this tonight that is worth talking about tomorrow when you look at the videotape?
I don't think so. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even look at the tape. I'd burn it up right now because it's not worthy of looking at, in my opinion, especially when you play Detroit these many times and have the same type of repeated performance against you. You got to go and do something else. But if your mindset and the people you have on the roster are not made up to be physical or somewhere along the lines to have some type of pride, say, hey, layup after layup. I've always discussed that this season, but then again, I'm not trying to be that harsh on the Bulls, but that is why they've only won 13 games. They just don't have the talent level or I'd say the mindset to go out and do certain things that I know other teams would do or get into when you're getting beat that badly, especially by one team like Detroit all season long. The only thing Tim honestly can do is take the year, take the positives out of the Corey Carrs and the Benjamins and everyone else that's played tough, good, solid basketball, and go off that and then get the season over with and look forward to next year to build and start getting this team back to at least competition and contributing in the winning form, because they're not shown here, and some people won't have their jobs. It's as simple as that. They're just not talented enough to keep up with the rest of this league. So they have some work to do. And I know Reinsdorf, Mr. Reinsdorf today earlier in the Tribune made some comments about where they're at. In about 3 years, they should be back in the mix. But I'm going to tell you, they got to be lucky in the draft. And they really, really have to push it hard and get some talent somewhere on the free agent level if anyone wants to come to Chicago.
I think what bothers me about a ball game like this tonight is the Bulls jump off.
First game of the year. Well, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman all have done a phenomenal job this NBA season to keep their names in the headlines. Phil Jackson has been Mr. Elusive. That changed Wednesday as the Bulls paid tribute to the man who was the coach for all 6 of their championships. Naturally, the Chicago media took advantage of the rare Jackson sighting to see if he was ready to return to coaching.
The opportunities that are available out there for coaching are very interesting. There's going to be, I'm sure, a number of them at the end of the year. But it's got to be a combination of things, not just money, not just control, not just a team, not just a city to live in, but a number of things I think that would have to be coming together to pique my interest to coach a team.
What else does a man need besides money, control, talent, town? Right. He's got plaques and pictures. He's got his own banner. He's got friends like Bill Bradley, Bill Cartwright. What else does the man need?
Well, he's got
ownership,
his own banner there.
Maybe ownership. Somebody let him be an owner with you. Then you got Phil Jackson as a coach. But he was the man of the hour in Chicago as the Bulls got killed again. 13 wins for the once proud franchise as the Orlando Magic, as mentioned earlier, go into the Eastern playoffs as the 3rd seed. Bulls finished the season averaging less than 82 points a game.
You mentioned Dennis Rodman always having his name in the headlines. It's been comforting the last few weeks, not mentioning the name of Rodman in every show we do. It's been kind of nice without the controversy and dissension. Well, it's over. Rodman is back in the news, and as usual, it's not good. The Worm will go on trial September 22nd for allegedly groping a cocktail waitress at the hip bar Phoenix, located on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. Susan Patterson claims Rodman put a $100 bill down her blouse and then grabbed her breasts. Rodman was playing for the Bulls at the time. He later played for the Lakers this season until he was waived for not being able to show up for games or for practice on time with shoes. When we come back to the Fox Network Center, we'll check in on the Swiss Miss, and she gears up for the French Open. Highlights of the Italian Open. Coming later.
Bulls with the lead here.
Orlando, very athletic, beat the Bulls by 47 last time out. The Bulls, a solid first half of play. Dutchman, let's go to the highlights, partner. Right at the top, of course, as you know, you cannot beat our Dickey.
Our Dickey in the lane. He can complete as well as anyone. When you move the ball, he's in the right place at the right time.
Darrell Armstrong, long range, penetration, open court. This kid is a monster.
I love this kid only because he has worked to get where he is, and I think he will appreciate the game more as you show right there.
All right, Tony. Great inside pass to Harper.
A good look by Tony right there. He's the best at doing those particular things when he's on the move and groove.
We are back following the ball game at Live in the Locker Room. There is your score. Second half action coming up.
The Grady lookalike, Norm Van Leer.
Hi, Grady.
Grady lookalike, huh? Oh, the mistake on the lake.
I was thinking more along the lines of kind of an aging Marvin Gaye.
Aging Marvin Gaye? I was going to say Morgan Freeman for a moment. I get called everything when I walk down the street, so something I can't
not to mention Bill Cosby.
Bill all the time. So.
All right, Dutchman, let's go back to the second half of the UC and check out some of the game highlights. Right off the top, Ron Harper, one thing he can't do is finger roll.
Yeah, he can finger roll. And don't forget the man, George Gervin, invented that on me. He finger rolled me right on out the league.
Nick, out of Simeon, drains a three.
Yeah, he did. Nice pass, and Nick is on a roll this year. Glad to see him back in the mix.
Tony, one thing he could do was finger roll.
And he did it well. It seemed like every time the Bulls started the first half or the second half, they were in the mix going to the paint.
Armstrong, absolutely sensational in this ball game tonight.
No doubt.
Magic, once again. Here is Harpringer with the 12-footer.
Nice little play. That's one of the toughest shots in basketball, I think, to hit 12-footers cleaning, but he did it.
Rusty, downtown.
Rusty LaRue.
And that wraps it up with a rainbow jump shot. The Magic are 20-point winners, 103-83. Bill Wennington is next up as we continue with Live in the Locker Room.
Is it what you expected, worse, better? Talk about 1999.
It was a little bit better than I expected. I